Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we seek the blessings of Shri Shri Radharani, Radha Krishna, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsimhadev, Bonita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So yesterday was the glorious appearance of Srimati Radharani, Radhastami, and today we wanted to discuss a little bit about her glories. There's not we obviously not usually qualified to talk about Radharani, but we can have a small attempt. So this slok is from Brahma Samhita, first slok of the 5th chapter. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nadirhadir Govind Sarvakan. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, prime cause of all causes. So this is the position of Krishna. It's very clearly stated in the Brahma Samhita and the Bhagavad Gita as well, and the Srimad Bhagavad Purana. So who is next to Krishna? She's always next to Krishna. Who is she? Who is that girl? When you see a picture of Krishna, people wonder, who is that girl next to Krishna? Well, this is Radha. Before we can understand the girl, we have to try to understand Krishna. Of course, this is no ordinary girl, and Krishna is no ordinary person. When we speak of Krishna, we're speaking of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, the cause of all causes. In other words, when we speak of Krishna, we're speaking of God. Usually when people think of God, they think of an old man, because God is known as the one who is the most ancient. He is the original person. So there's another verse in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarup Adyam Purana Purusha Navayovanam Cha. So he's very, very old, but he's also Navayovanam Cha. He's also eternally youthful. But in the Western cultures, he's considered to be an old man. For example, Michelangelo, he painted God on the ceiling of the Vatican as an old man with a white beard, thinking that if you're old, then you have a white beard. This is due to the materialistic idea that people have, that God has a material body like us. So if he's old, he must have a white beard. So this conception of God is that he grows old. But of course, how can the Supreme Personality of God grow old? It's not possible. But in the Vedas, we find information about God that makes it very clear that although God is the oldest, his form is not old. He is ever fresh. His form is completely spiritual. Because his body is not like our body. His body is not material. It is completely spiritual. And spiritual never decays. Just like we are the spirit soul. And although in this material world our bodies may get old, the soul never ages. So in the same way, God never ages. Although not seeable by these eyes, in fact, God is a person with a spiritual form. Many people like to think of God as void of personality, i.e., that he is not a person. He is some light or some ray of sunshine, if you like. And therefore, he's void of form, void of any gender in that sense. But in fact, Krishna is Purush, male, or the enjoyer. So male in this material world has a certain connotation as opposed to female. But actually, Krishna's position is that of Purush, or the enjoyer. It goes way beyond the ordinary classification of male or female. The evidence in the Vedas is that the Supreme Person exists in his kingdom, but he does not exist alone there. The idea is that in the kingdom of God, God is sitting there very lonely on the throne, growing old alone, is again a mistake due to the insufficient information that people have received. In fact, God is not only the most attractive and ever fresh, youthful person, but God does not exist alone. There is a person who is closest to Krishna, the Supreme Person, whose love for the Supreme Lord is greater than the love of anyone else for the Supreme Lord. And that person is Radha. Most originally, the Lord, he is one, and from him comes Radha. So from one becomes two. But that is also an eternal position, because in the spiritual world, time is not linear. It is actually, time serves the Supreme Lord. It's not controlling the Supreme Lord. In this world, we are controlled by time. Time destroys everything. When in the spiritual world, time exists to serve the Lord. It's not linear. It varies according to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. However, Radha is not separate from Krishna. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find the statement that Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of Mahabhav and the crest jewel amongst all lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. So from the Lord comes actually many, many expansions and avatars and incarnations. And the topmost expansion is his internal energy, the Mahabhav, which is Srimati Radharani. Krishna is one, but he appears as two, so there can be dynamic exchange of love. How much love are you going to have with yourself? Right? If you're on your own, how much love is there? But there's two. There's going to be a dynamic exchange of love, especially when the second one has a personality and has a mood which is completely different from the original one. In Krishna and Radharani are the male and female aspects. We shouldn't understand these male and female aspects in terms of the material concept. It's a little misleading. It's very misleading, actually. This male Krishna has is the form of Purush, enjoyer. And the most enjoyed is Radharani. So because she's enjoyed, she's regarded to be the female aspect of the Supreme Being. And they appear together, appearing together. It is difficult to comprehend the relationship of Radha and Krishna through mental speculation, as Krishna is the very source of the mind and cannot be understood with our limited human intellect. No matter how hard we try, it will not be possible with our material calculations to try to limit the Lord according to our perception. It's just not possible. Our perception is limited by our mind, our intelligence, our ego. The Lord is unlimited. If Radharani is both one with and different from Krishna, one may ask, can two people be one? And can one person be two? Because it is quite hard to comprehend and understand this with our limited knowledge. The combination is like that of the sun and the sunshine. So this is an interesting example. There is no sunshine without the sun, and the sun cannot exist without the sunshine. They're both interdependent. The energy, sunshine, and the energetic sun are one in one sense. One cannot exist without the other, while also being different, because the sun is the sun and the sunshine comes from the sun. So although they are one, they're also at the same time different. In the same way, Radha and Krishna are simultaneously one and different. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while Srimati Radharani is the supreme pleasure energy. As one, they constitute the absolute truth. So this is very, very interesting. Sometimes we see the deity of Krishna on his own. Nothing wrong with that. But when there's Radha and Krishna, that's complete. Because we have, because they constitute the absolute truth together. So how to understand Radha? In his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada notes that the relationship of Krishna and Radharani is not a romantic relationship not a romantic dealing between two mortal human beings. It is purely transcendental and requires spiritual qualification to comprehend. Srila Prabhupada recommends that an aspiring devotee of Krishna should first thoroughly study the initial 9 cantos of the Bhagavatam, all of which stress upon the greatness of God and his divine energy, before dwelling into the more intimate pastimes detailed in the 10th canto. And the reason why he does that is because we first need to understand the concept of God, the greatness of God, the divinity of God. Otherwise, we may make the mistake of thinking that this relationship between Radha and Krishna is an ordinary material relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. And that is a very dangerous route, because we will not advance spiritually if we do not understand the greatness of the Supreme. Radharani makes her prominent presence felt in the Hare Krishna mantra, Maha Mantra. So Hara, so we have 3 names in the Maha Mantra. We have Krishna, we have Rama, and we have Hare. So Hare, actually, original sound is Hara, the feminine form of Hari, or Krishna. And Hare is a vocative form of Hara. So we don't say Hara Krishna, we say Hare Krishna. Hare means Hara, but it changes from Hara to Hare when we are within the mantra. Radharani is highly compassionate. And for this reason, her name appears before that of Krishna, as devotees approach her before approaching Krishna. Radha Krishna, Hare Krishna, Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan. So the internal potency always appears before the Supreme Personality. Although Krishna is so beautiful, he can attract millions of cupids, and is therefore known as Madan Mohan, the attractor of Cupid. Radharani can even attract Krishna. Therefore, she is called Madan Mohan Mohini, the attractor of Cupid. So this is the glory of Srimati Radharani. This is the glory of Srimati Radharani. She attracts even Krishna. And Krishna means all attractive. Is God male or female? So the word Radha comes from the Sanskrit word Aradhana, which means worship. And the word Rani means queen. Radharani can be literally translated to mean the queen of worship. In some texts, she is described as the supreme goddess who is worshipable by everyone. She is the protector of all, and she is the mother of the entire universe. Just like Supreme Lord Krishna is the father of the entire universe, Radharani is described to be the mother of the entire universe. Of course, we don't see Srimati Radharani as mother necessarily, because they are part of the divine couple. She's part of the divine couple. But her position is that she is the source, just like Krishna is the source of the entire universe. So the question is God a man? The answer to this question that has been on everyone's mind for millennia is both, yes and no. But God is not just male. according to some Vedic scriptures, God has both masculine and feminine expansions. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna provides a sneak preview into these feminine traits. He says, Kirti Shir Vacha Narinam Smritam Smriti Meda Diti Shama. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. That's Bhagavad Gita 10:34. However, in some of the more esoteric texts, such as the Puranas, Upanishads, and also the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it explains that the complete manifestation of God includes his feminine counterpart, Radha. So God is male, Purush. But if we want to have a fuller understanding of the absolute truth, we need to include the feminine counterpart, Radharani. They are inconceivably one and different, just like we described the example of the sun and the sunshine. You can't take the one away from the other. As Krishna expanded himself into two for the purpose of exchanging love. There's a beautiful description in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which gives us a window into the connection between Radha and Krishna. So here's another example, a similar example to the sun. Radha is the full power, and Krishna is the possessor of the full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent is inseparable, just as fire and its heat are non-different. Thus Radha and Krishna are one, yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellows of pastimes. This concept is not an easy one to grasp. If God is full and complete, why does he need to expand himself to exchange love? Interesting question. The next question we can ask is, why does God need to do anything anyway? Well, the answer is he has a personality, which indicates that he has preferences. This is God. This need to expand for the purpose of exchanging love speaks of the importance love plays in the lives of all individuals. Our desire to love and be loved comes from God. For the most part, no one wants to be alone, at least not permanently. Sometimes we may want to be left alone for a little while, but after a while we get bored and we turn on the TV or phone up a friend. So it's not a permanent situation. The thing everyone is chasing after is love. We all want to know that there are people out there that love us. Simultaneously, we hanker to be able to give our love to others. So this is also inherent within the Supreme Lord. He loves, and he also wants to be loved. This is part of the beauty of God. It doesn't make him incomplete because he is the source of everything. Yet, this is a dimension to God which makes Godhead very exciting. If there was no concept of love within Godhead, it'll be very mechanical, boring, process of creation, process of destruction, without any activity other than that. There's another passage in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that describes Radha's qualities and love for Krishna. Radharani's body, mind, and words are steeped in love for Krishna. The body of Radharani is a veritable transformation of love of God. Even Krishna can't understand the strength of Radha's love, which overwhelms him. Her transcendental body is complete with unparalleled spiritual qualities. Even Lord Krishna himself cannot reach the limit of the transcendental qualities, brother. So this is really mind-blowing. Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is omniscient, right? Knows everything, omnipresent, is present everywhere. He still can't get his head around Radharani's love for him. So how amazing is this? How amazing is this? God who is perfect, yet that perfection does not allow him to understand the perfection of Ram. So we can just look at it. Oh, actually, let's do this tomorrow. Any questions? Any comments, please?
Prabhu, can you explain the concept of Hari and Hara again? Because I didn't quite get it.
Hara and Hari.
Yes.
Hari is the Supreme Lord, right? Hari,
Okay.
Lord Hari refers to Krishna, refers to Vishnu, can refer to Ram, Hari, and the counterpart of Hari is Hara. And when we sing the mantra, it becomes Hare.
Oh, okay.
It becomes Hare.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Yeah, now I get it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, so I think we're going to spend a few sessions on Srimati Radharani because there's so much amazing things to try to get our tiny heads around. And it's, the acharyas have given us so much. So it's worth spending this time to understand or try to get a little bit more understanding of this phenomenal personality. So, Srimati Radharani ki jai.